love and appreciate work. You're able to love and appreciate criticism. So you're able to take in criticism. You're able to dish it off, but you're able to take it in. And you're able to look at it in the right way. You're not going to be able to look at it like, oh, this person hating, or this person don't like me. You're able to look at criticism like, oh, this person care about me. Or this person care about me how I look, or care about me going out here looking stupid, because that's how I care for people. You're able to realize if a person doing to you the same thing that how you do to others. You're able to realize the misconception and eradicate it. You know what I'm saying? With Venus here being in the 6th house. You know what I'm saying? You're able to love and appreciate people at work. Like, so when you're coming around, people may look at it like, oh, here come this person. They always got something to complain about. They always got something to criticize about. But you like that. That's your form of place in this world. So Venus in the 6th house, when they go into a workplace or where they go into a field, they like people giving them that kind of respect. If it's a negative or positive, they like people giving them that kind of aspect. They like people looking at them like, oh shit, because that's the form of them being right. That's a form of them, that's confirming to them that they're loved and appreciated. Now, when we get to Mars in the 6th house. Now, I have this placement right here. Now, Mars in the 6th house, it's here or there. This is one of them iffy planets. You know what I'm saying? Because it can work, but then it might not work. You know what I'm saying? Here's why. Now, Mars is intentions, willpower. You know what I'm saying? Things you intend to do. Your desires on a day-to-day basis. For an example, like Mars is the lighter side of Pluto. So where Mars may just want to buy a hamburger today, Pluto may want to buy a pack of hamburger so they can have hamburgers throughout the week. See, so Mars may just want that new burger Burger King just came out with that day, but Pluto is going to want a pack of hamburger that they can eat throughout the week, regardless of what brand it is. See what I'm saying? So it's deep desires, and then you just have desires. So Mars is the lighter octave. This is why Aries is the light side of Mars. Scorpio is the dark side of Mars. And they could go if and and. Too much light can make you blind. Too much dark can make you manipulative. So here's the vice versa of it. People who have too much light to the point they end up being in the dark. Because if they're not seeing any opposing aspect, they can become very negative. And a person who's too much in the dark, they're not enlightened about nothing. So they could become very positive because they're not aware of the harshness of the world, of the oppositions. So it can play out either or. So that's why you can have them real negative Aries and real positive Scorpios, or have them real negative Scorpios and have them real positive Aries. You know what I'm saying? Because of the Mars effect. Now, with Mars being in the 6th house, right? It's intended to work. Its intentions is to work. It may want to do all work with no pleasures. It may be sitting in front of a whole bunch of pleasures, but may not even want to dive into those pleasures until they get the job done first, or whatever work is in front of them. You know what I'm saying? So Mars in the 6th house have a desire, have a passion for work. Have a desire for putting things into routine. Have a desire to doing things on a day-to-day basis. This is why y'all see me have so many goddamn videos. I got like thousands of fucking videos because, like, for an example, I'm a prime example right now, right? I can have like 10 blunts in front of me, right? I'm not even gonna wanna smoke one of those until I get my idea out. Like say I just rolled up 10 blunts, right? And I'm like, all right, I'm about to get high, like, you know what I'm saying? And start to think about some shit or whatever like that, right? Now say, boom, God give me an idea to make a video. God give me an idea to do something or make a song or something like that. I'm not going to want to touch that blunt until I do that video. So I will be able to sit back and enjoy the pleasures of watching my creation, then be able to want to do my pleasure. You see what I'm saying? So that's Mars in the 6th house in a nutshell. You don't want to even pleasure yourself unless you got the job done, and that makes you appreciate the pleasurable moment that much more. Now, the times that y'all do see me smoking in the middle of videos, 9 times out of 10 is because I'm with someone. I'm around somebody. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not by myself. So I have to learn how to relate. So I know the niggas around me or the females around me not gonna want to sit around and listen to me talk and wait till my programs get done and so we can smoke. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm a little bit more relatable. So I'm like, okay, y'all could go ahead and light that up, or I'll light this up, and we can do this in the middle of it. You know what I'm saying? But from an overall perspective, I like to get the job done first before I go out trying to experience a pleasure. You know what I'm saying? So that's like Mars in the 6th house could be workaholics. You know what I'm saying? To the point that they get frustrated and mad and upset at themselves for doing it. They have to force and fight themselves to relax and be like, listen, you deserve to relax. You deserve to sit back and just take a little bit of time off. You know what I'm saying? Don't put so much pressure on yourself. That's Mars in the 6th house. So that's the bad and the good. The good is you're going to be work orientated. You may be the hardest working, fastest working person at your job. But that same pressure you put on yourself to be looked at good is the same pressure you're going to put on yourself to make it bad. For an example, I only had one job my whole life. Bob Evans Restaurant, right? Now, I was everything in it. But starting that tank, right? I was starting that tank, right? Now, Mars in the 6th house. Nigga, I was the fastest nigga. It almost made me feel like, why did the people who are already hired here is hired, right? So I'm here impressing everybody, pressing all the managers, boom, 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 boom. Shit, they took me off nights in 1 week. That's unheard of. When you start at a restaurant, especially at Tank, your ass gonna be at all nights. They took me off nights in 1 week. They seen what the fuck I did and it's slow at nighttime. Was slow compared to the daytime. They seen what the fuck I did at that dish tank. It was like, oh hell nah. We gonna replace that motherfucker we got in the morning with this nigga. So I was not even a whole week, 4 days. I started off with 4 days. Those four days, that last day out of them 4 days, which was a Friday, they was like, oh no. You gonna be on days, and not only for 4 days, 5 days. So I was so good that, and I was bussing because it was so easy. I wasn't even supposed to be bussing, but I went out there and bust. You know what I'm saying? So, because I just looked at it like, what the fuck is this? This ain't shit. So, by that being said, boom, I'm thinking that's a good thing. I didn't got a raise the first month. Everything, like, you know what I'm saying? And then they put me on 6 days. 6 days, right? So now I'm working Monday through Saturday. And restaurants could do that. They put me on 6 days. I'm opening 6:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon. 5 days straight. And on the 6th day, I come in like probably 11:30 in the morning and leave at 4:30. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's really not my day, but they gave me that day to help the lazy ass people be there. So boom. I'm thinking it's a good thing, right? Right? Time go on, right? Here's how Mars in the 6th house ended up being a bad thing. They start hiring weaker and weaker people. Now, they making me feel like this is a good thing because not only am I already getting full-time hours, but sometimes they may need me a little longer because the people that they hiring now, they can kind of give less hours. These people are a little bit more lazy. So they make me feel like I'm in a good position, but overall, they're taking advantage of me because they don't have to hire so many people in the tank area no more, and they can rely on one person because I'm capable. I'm taking out the trash, I'm busting, and I'm doing this, and it's not getting overwhelming. Everything is caught up. And since I'm looking at it like it's easy to do, they looking at it like, okay, let's just give him some raises. Let's give him some hours. He's gonna like that. Where in reality, I'm getting taken advantage of. All my hours in actual life is being taken away from me. The little bit of bullshit money, the $300 to $400 I'm getting every week, that's not shit. That ain't shit. So for me to even think that was something is retarded. You know what I'm saying? And their business is flowing better because they don't have to hire as many people in that area anymore. So now, okay, yeah, I know I'm capable, but now, fuck that. I don't want to do that no more. So I'm coming to work now doing the same thing everybody else is doing. We all getting paid around the same shit. I'm not finna let this person slack and I'm gonna take over their whole job just cause I can. You know what I'm saying? And just cause that's who y'all hiring. So now it's starting to get frustrating. Now it's like, oh, I'm being taken advantage of. Now it's a bunch of other programs. So that's the bad aspect of Mars being in the 6th house. You see what I'm saying? And I ended up walking out of that job. I walked out. When they needed me most, I walked out. Don't ever get fired. Always quit and walk out. I always knew my spiritual path was higher. I ain't know what I was gonna do. I just knew that this wasn't a place for me. So I walked out. You know what I'm saying? And now look, I'm doing way better than any job. Everybody who come to me who got a job, I get paid more than them in one day than they get paid in their whole 2 weeks check. You know what I'm saying? And when you do that, you're gonna open up so many fears or realities of see, that's why y'all don't even see me. Y'all could go on these other astrologers, right? And they'd be after every video they tell you, if you need a reading from me, you know how to contact. Y'all see, I barely do that. I only really do that because I get so many emails of people wanting a natal chart done. So that's the only reason you may even see sometimes in my description, need natal reading done or need. But most of the time y'all see me just teaching and shit. I don't get money from that shit. God put me in a position that I'm able to receive money in a lot of outer box type ways because of the energy I carry for myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not even bent on trying to get paid off even astrology. You know what I'm saying? I don't get paid off that shit. I do that for the only time y'all see me even doing that is because I get requests. So many requests for that shit. But you leave it up to me, y'all gonna get all these videos from me, learn how to do it yourself. Like that's me. I don't keep secrets. I don't keep stupid shit like the stuff like that. How the basic common man think that they have a knowledge and they think if they keep it secluded, they can get paid off of it or something like that. My money is intuition. My money is knowledge. My money is value. You can't tell me I'm not a millionaire. You see what I'm saying? So that's another video. But that's the dilemma that Mars could give you in the 6th house. That's why I said at the beginning it could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on the situation you're in. It can start off bad and get to good. It can start off good and get to bad. In my case, it starts off good and get bad eventually. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's talk about Jupiter. Jupiter is wisdom, knowledge. You know what I'm saying? How you learn in this lifetime right now. So it's basically all experiences. So what happens here? When you have Jupiter in the 6th house, you're going to have a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, or you're going to be around people. Remind you, I have to keep this out of disclaimer. If you feel like, oh, that's not me, but you have this placement, a lot of times it's due to other planetary alignments, and it's because you experiencing someone else in your life with these traits. See, when we talk about the houses, it's either you doing this or someone doing this to you, or you experiencing that energy from someone else. See what I'm saying? So, for an example, with Jupiter being in the 6th house, if you're not the one who have a lot of wisdom and knowledge and experience when it comes to things of a routine or work or things that you do on a day-to-day basis, you're going to be around someone that's like that. So, if you don't have that knowledge up front, you're going to be able to be around someone to extract that knowledge from. See what I'm saying? So that's how the houses play out. So with Jupiter being in the 6th house, Jupiter also brings benefits and it expands. So you may be the type of person who may not want to put things into routine because you already you was born, or you already in a life that is already a bunch of shit set up for you that seems like a routine and seems like a day-to-day basis. So you're going to end up the type of person who want to rebel against these things and create your own. And you already have a knowledge and wisdom about a certain amount of routine or a certain amount of things that you do on a day-to-day basis, because that's experience, and Jupiter is going to bring experiences in whatever house is in. And if it's in the 6th house, it brings experience of work, routine, things you do on a day-to-day basis. So you may have been a person who have been raised, and the parents raised you with a bunch of routines. You may have had a lot of chores and you're growing up in life. You may have had parents who always down your neck about getting good grades, or always down your neck about getting the job done, or working towards something, or make sure you go to college, make sure you get a job, make sure you have something to work towards, make sure you're gonna have parents in your life that probably been down on your throat about that when you have Jupiter in the 6th house, and you're gonna be on yourself like that to a certain amount of degree. Also, with Jupiter in the 6th house, this is gonna make you a person who's very aware of the wisdom and knowledge other people have when it comes to putting things into routine and doing things on a day-to-day basis and working towards something, or working in general. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be around people who's always putting meaning behind work. You're going to put a meaning behind work. You're going to start to feel like, well, I need to work because of this in my life. And you're going to tie it to a philosophical type of meaning. Oh, why you put this in routine, and why you should learn about this on a day-to-day basis. And it doesn't... See, the 6th house deals with work, but anything you work towards. It doesn't always necessarily has to be a job, working. It could be things you're working towards. You may have just learned something and you're working towards learning everything about it. You know what I'm saying? And Jupiter in the 6th house is going to do that the most. They're going to put that into routine. So it's like, instead of being the teacher, they're going to study teachers. They're going to put it into routine of what teachers actually do. You know what I'm saying? That's like Jupiter in the 6th house. Now, when we want to talk about... Saturn. Now, Saturn in the 6th house. Saturn is how one builds structure in one's life. And Saturn is also how one, where one is going to put boundaries and restrictions and limits on. Or where they're going to receive boundaries and restrictions and limits. So with Saturn being in the 6th house, a person gains structure in their life by working, or by getting a job. They feel like this is the first step of gaining structure in your life. Working towards, or if they have an idea, working towards that idea. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be the purpose. That's going to be their whole purpose of gaining structure in their life. They're not going to want to do anything else because they're going to feel like that's not putting structure in their life. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to put a lot of boundaries and restrictions and limits on routines. Things that's done on a day-to-day basis. So for an example, if going to work every day doesn't seem like a sensible thing to do in order to work towards something that's building a foundation in your life, then they're going to put boundaries and restrictions and limits on getting a job. And they're going to and then they're going to want to gain stability on something else that makes them feel like they can gain structure in their life. You know what I'm saying? If a job ain't... Now, you have a lot of... Now, I'm not saying... This is just in general. I just made that an example. If getting a job is to this Saturn in this 6th house person, if getting a job is a sense of gaining structure in their life, then that's the only way they're going to see it. So they're going to look at people without jobs like, you're not putting structure in your life. And if you the type of person to come with them with ideas, but they can't see that idea as something that they can put structure on, something that they can gain something from or build something off of, it's not going to make sense to them. Your faith story not going to make sense to them. Your inspiration not going to make sense to them. Your aspirations not going to make sense to them. Your ideas, your creativity, none of that is going to make sense if they don't see you putting it into routine and willing it into existence. See, the thing with earth signs, and especially here with Saturn being in the 6th house, believe me, they understand your spirit. But if you're going to keep going on about it and they can't see it reeled into reality, then they're going to say that you don't have the right spirit. See, by no means necessary, earth signs are not spiritual. See, when you have astrologers talking about earth signs of lacking faith or lacking spirituality or something like that, they don't mean it in that way. Earth signs could be some of the most spiritual people in the world. But that spirituality has to help them in reality. See, if it don't, then it's just a figment of imagination. And see, in so many rights, they're right. Earth signs are right. If your spirituality ain't, I don't care how spiritual you is. If you always sad and upset, an earth sign is able to look at that like, where your spirituality ain't even helping you in the way I can see it. So it's just a figment of your imagination. It's just an idea, but it's not even real. So that person gonna look at the earth sign like, oh, this person too practical. They just don't get it. They don't get it. But the earth sign is really able to look at it like, listen, I do get it. I get it. But it's not helping you in this reality. And at the end of the day, we live in this reality. So it's just still a figment of your imagination. You better listen to that motherfucking earth sign. They get it. Don't think they don't get it. They get it. You better listen to that motherfucking earth sign. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? With Saturn, you could not be an earth sign at all. But if you got Saturn in 6th house, you're gonna play out a lot of these traits in your elemental way, whether you're air, water, or fire. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, with Saturn being in the 6th house, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna wanna the way you gain structure in your life, the way you gain stability in your life is you do it in a routine. You do it in on a day-to-day basis. It has to be something you put in a routine. It has to be something scheduled. It has to be something planned, or it don't make sense. You mean to tell me you got an idea to do something tomorrow, but you can't even write it down? You can't even put it on the calendar? What if you forget? What if you this? And you may be the type of person who may not forget, but this is how the earth sign thinking. It makes more sense to write it down. It makes more sense to actualize it. It makes more sense to bring it into density. See what I'm saying? So with the earth, with Saturn being in the 6th house, they're gonna place a lot of boundaries and restrictions on things that people try to place on them. Like you can't come to a Saturn and a 6th house person trying to give them a job, trying to give them a routine. No, these are bosses. You can't give them something to do. You can't give them a routine. You can't give them something you want them to do on a day-to-day basis. No, that's not how they're going to be stable. They're going to feel like they're not stabilizing themselves. They have to be in control. They have to be the boss. So you have to either apply your ideas and help them, or don't even do it at all, because they're going to make you a boundary, restriction, and limit, to the point that you're not going to be able to come around them. See what I'm saying? So that's Saturn in the 6th house. And it goes a little deeper into that than that. But let's move on. See, the higher now is going to get a little shorter descriptive, because the planets are so far away. So they hold a more broader aspect to the actual energy in the houses that they rely in. Let's start off with Uranus. Now, Uranus in the 6th house. Now, Uranus is change, rebellion, but it's also originality and uniqueness. Now, you need all these, because in order to be unique and original, 9 times out of 10 is changing someone else's way of doing it, or is rebelling against someone else's way of doing it, because it's new, it's original, and it's unique. So it's not like what's already there. So it's changing something. It's rebelling against something. See what I'm saying? So when you have your